Welcome back, my precious curiosities. Let me confess something. I've recently spent an unholy number of hours replaying Green Hell. There is something deeply unsettling about being lost beneath the canopy of green that wants you dead. It awakens an ancient instinct, the understanding that we are not, and never were, at the top of the food chain. When night falls in that digital jungle and the trees stretch into long, grasping silhouettes, I'm always reminded of a film I watched repeatedly while stuck at home during lockdown, a story where the forest doesn't merely hide predators, it hides a god. Today, we're venturing into the Swedish wilderness to examine the ritual. But we're not here to admire the creature alone. We're here to ask why it works. How do you write a deity that doesn't just consume flesh, but feeds on fractured souls? Stay with me until the end because I've prepared a dead curious cheat sheet to help you manifest your own nightmares. We have 3 essential lessons and 4 ironclad rules to uncover. Let's begin the hunt. If you're new to my den, I am Vyxen Storm, your 9-tailed guide through the anatomy of horror. Here at Dead Curious, we don't just watch movies, we strip them down to the bone to see what makes them shiver. In The Ritual, 4 friends go hiking to honor a fallen comrade, but one of them, Luke, carries a weight heavier than his pack. Guilt. During a liquor store robbery, Luke froze. He watched his friend die while he stood paralyzed behind a shelf. It's not heroic guilt, it's not noble grief, it's small, ugly human shame. And in folk horror, that kind of pain is irresistible. If you want to write a monster that feels inevitable, not random, you must understand Lesson 1. Horror is most effective when the external threat reflects the internal wound. The entity in The Ritual, the motor, isn't a mindless hunter, it is a connoisseur of suffering. It doesn't just want your body, it wants your mind in the right condition first. This brings us to rule number 1. Guilt is the ultimate bait. On the first night in the cabin, the group finds a headless effigy made of branches, its arms twisted into antlers. It's unsettling, but the true horror comes when they sleep. Each man has nightmares, but Luke's is different. The forest bleeds into his memory. Pine trees flicker into fluorescent lights. Shelves line the woodland floor. His trauma doesn't stay buried, it becomes terrain. When you write a broken god, ask yourself, what is my protagonist trying to outrun? A creature like the motor doesn't haunt places, it haunts specific memories. It weaponizes regret. It corners its prey using the one thing they cannot abandon, themselves. Luke later finds puncture wounds on his chest, not a fatal injury, a sign of interest. Something has already noticed how hollow he is. A god that haunts the broken doesn't want the strongest survivor. It wants the one most desperate to stop hurting. And if this analysis is sinking its antlers into you, flick that like button with your tail or your finger. It helps the algorithm drag more souls into the woods. Now, let's talk about the deity itself. Many stories fail here by making their god too familiar. A demon, a beast, something we already understand. The Ritual avoids this mistake beautifully. Rule number 2, subvert the silhouette. The motor is an evolutionary nightmare. A towering elk-like body carries something far worse, a humanoid torso embedded in its chest, antlered arms in a posture of worship. Its true face is hidden where a head should never be. It is wrong in a way that signals divinity, not biology. This creature doesn't belong to our rules. It belongs to the Earth's old logic. In the film's lore, it is a Jotun, an ancient being wearing godhood like a crown. But its design isn't just spectacle. It supports rule number 3, the offer of release. When Luke is captured, he's shown the alternative to death. The forest dwellers who worship the motor are granted immortality. Look at them. They are mummified husks, rotting but breathing, kneeling in filth before something that treats them like possessions. The motor doesn't heal pain, it preserves it indefinitely. When writing your deity, ask, why does it stay here? What does it want beyond survival? The motor wants to be the end of your journey. It wants to replace guilt with devotion. It offers to take your shame if you kneel. It's not mercy, it's the most toxic relationship imaginable. The climax of the ritual works because Luke finally understands the truth. The god cannot heal him. It can only keep him frozen in his worst moment. This brings us to rule number 4. Survival requires spite. Luke is given the chance to bow, to surrender his pain in exchange for endless worship. And for the first time, he refuses to seek forgiveness. He doesn't beg, he doesn't repent, he chooses to live. He strikes the creature. He learns that even gods can bleed, and that sometimes survival doesn't mean victory, it means escape. Luke doesn't destroy the motor, he runs from it, but he runs awake, no longer hiding inside his memory. The forest becomes real again, and that makes all the difference. In your writing, the god should be the final exam. If the protagonist cannot confront their trauma, they become a cultist, frozen in worship, preserved in grief. If they fight back, they aren't escaping a monster, they're escaping their own shadow. Now, let's gather what we've scavenged in the woods. If you're building your own nightmare, here is your dead curious cheat sheet for writing a god that haunts the broken. Lesson 1. The Predator of Memory. Horror is most effective when the external threat reflects the internal conflict. Rule number 1, guilt is bait. Your monster should weaponize the past. If your character is grieving, make the monster final. If they're guilty, offer false absolution. Lesson 2, the physicality of nightmares. The monster should be wrong in an abstract and disturbing way. Rule number 2, subvert the silhouette. Avoid familiar shapes. Mix human and animal traits to signal ancient divinity. Rule number 3, the offer of release. Give the monster mercy that is worse than death. The choice should be slavery or death, never freedom. Lesson 3, the climax of spite. In your writing, the god should be a final exam for the protagonist's growth. Rule number 4, action over penance. Your hero wins by refusing to be defined by their worst moment. Survival itself becomes an act of defiance. There you have it. Take these notes, let them rot under your pillow, see what grows. That's all for today's descent into the ritual. If this helped you craft gods that truly haunt your characters, join our pack, subscribe, ring the bell. I wouldn't want you to miss the next hunt. And leave a comment below. Which horror creature has the best design? Or which movie god would you be tempted to bow to? I'll be lurking. Goodbye, my dear curiosities. Stay curious, stay scared.